We live in a strange time where we often have fairly large screens in our pockets. We have medium-sized screens on our desks. We have large, sometimes comically huge screens in our living rooms, all there for us to consume the various forms of content, television, movies, video games that we all enjoy and love. But when we're on the go, maybe we're commuting, we're on a train, we're in a subway, something like that, we are somewhat restricted in regard to what size screen we can have with us. The product that we're looking at today aims to sort of change that. We are looking at the Rokid Max AR glasses. And what these are, in the simplest of terms, is a 360-inch screen that you wear on your face and you then have access to wherever you might be. All you need to do is have something that you can plug into it. Your phone in your pocket very likely, very possibly will fit the bill. Plug that thing in, fire up some content. Like I said, no matter where you are, you've got an absolutely massive screen at your disposal. Now, as you can see, this does not come cheap. This thing is $379, although I am told by the sponsor of this video, Rokid themselves, that there will be a promo code that you can use to bring that price down, probably as you're watching this very near Black Friday. There should be some sort of promo code in the description down below, in the pinned comment down below, for you to save a little bit of money. The first thing that you may notice is that they look like very dark sunglasses, and that is because I currently have the sun cover installed on it. This thing will pop off pretty easily if you go from the top, and it's going to block out all of the ambient light. Now, if you leave it off, you'll actually be able to see through these things as you are watching content. It'll actually kind of be like a transparent, slightly transparent screen that you will be viewing. Now, this works relatively well if you need to be able to see the environment around you, but as this is using two 1080p 600 nit micro LED displays, without that light being blocked out, you may find that the dark black colors are not as black as they should be. They might sort of be gray because, again, you're getting light passing through this, and that's going to brighten those things up a little bit. For the best video quality, you're going to want to have that light cover installed. Now, I did mention that you're going to plug something into this, and that's where the plug goes. There's a USB-C port on the left side above your ear, and honestly, that seems to work just fine. The plug that they send is angled. The only complaint I have with that is that when you're sliding this over your ears, there's a cable dangling down there, and that's a little bit awkward. These things are spring-loaded, and because of that, they're not too, harsh. They don't pinch your head too hard. So we actually do find them to be relatively comfortable. And likewise, the nose piece here that's going to be kind of gripping onto your nose is kind of squishy. As you can see there, that's much more comfortable than I expected it to be. The only complaint I have in terms of comfort is that this area here that's sort of pressed against your forehead at all times does begin to get a little bit warm after a while. You do have a set of speakers there, and they're sort of firing down into your ears, and honestly, they sound a bit better than I expected. They're not particularly loud, and they do kind of rumble your head a little bit as they are functioning, but they do sound better than I expected. If I go ahead and start playing content, though, through these, I think you should be able to hear it if I'm quiet. Now, there is an option, though. If I hold the volume down button, it'll go into this sound privacy mode, which I think you can hear here. Does indeed make that noise bleed a little bit harder to hear by kind of reducing some of the high end. Going back to those screens, I did mention that they are 1080p. They are also 120 hertz. So if you're plugging this thing into a gaming system and you're capable of hitting 120 FPS, you're going to be able to really enjoy that high refresh rate content. One other really cool thing about these screens is that you have adjustments here. If you're someone like me who has, bad vision, you can turn these little knobs and kind of dial things in between 0 and 600, or I guess it really should be 0.0 and 6.0, but nonetheless, you can dial this in. The only complaint that I really have in that direction is the fact that if you have an astigmatism, as I do in my right eye, it seems as though no matter what I do, on the fringes of the screen, in particular with text, I'm still getting a sort of, maybe you would call it chromatic aberration effect going on that I just don't think this thing's going to be able to compensate for. Like I said, if you've got some bad astigmatisms, you may be suffering a little bit with the picture quality on the fringes. I kind of want to double back to the video quality here for a second, because that's the thing that has probably blown me away the most about these things. It looks really, really good. In particular with those light blockers on, that allows the micro LED to do its thing. You get really nice contrast, nice colors. The detail is really good. I mean, I guess being that close, even 1080p tends to look very, very sharp. And man, it's a really nice experience for watching things, even like cinematic stuff like actual movies, because you can kind of just get comfortable, sit back against your chair and sit at a comfortable position. Your head's not turned in a movie theater or something like that. And you have this massive, like, movie theater sized screen right there in front of you. And it honestly looks better than almost any movie theater that I've been to in a really long time. That video quality, it's better than you would think. My only real complaint with it is that the vast majority of content you're going to be taking in with this thing is not stabilized. Now, here's what I mean by that. With a VR headset, something like a Meta Quest, you're able to take a screen and place it in the world, and if you look away from it, it stays still. If my head moves around, it stays still. With this thing, it is locked to my head. So if I shift in my seat, the screen is shifting in lockstep with me. Now, in my experience, too much moving, I am very susceptible to motion sickness. So be aware of that. But for me, too much movement like that, and I did start to get a little bit queasy. I'm on the outer like edges of motion sickness. I get it very, very easily. You're probably going to be fine. But to me, it does just look weird that no matter what I do, the screen is just locked to me. Now, there is their app that you can load into, and you can kind of do some things like this where you can sort of place things in the world, but it doesn't work that well. So when you fire up their app and you go into the AR mode, this is what you are greeted by. And this, you can't see this obviously because you're not seeing what I'm seeing, but if I move around, it is moving all around with me. Any subtle movement I make, it is moving around. And again, that's something that I don't love, but you can come down to the settings, and I'm using my phone like a trackpad. You can come down here and click on this and go to this 3DOF. I don't actually remember what that stands for, but what it does is it now places it in the world. And as you can see, as I look around, it stays steady, but it is very jittery. It's bouncing around. There's not cameras here. It's all accelerometer. So it's sort of just jittering around. And as you can see, it's like, I'm looking up. For whatever reason, that's where it is. Maybe there's a way to lower it down, but it's up in the air for some reason. And now my phone is basically acting like a Wiimote instead of using it like a touchpad. So let's go ahead and let's go into the app list. Actually, let's go into Cinema because this is probably the best way to demonstrate this. They have several apps sort of in here, which I believe they're all just the website. Let's go into YouTube and we'll fire that up. And it's just going to launch the YouTube website. Okay, so again, if I look around, it's going to stay put, but it's just jittering around like crazy. We're going to use my phone to scroll down, and I'm not logged in here, so all of this is probably just going to be a bunch of absolute nonsense. We'll search for me. Wow, look at those autocorrects. People know who I am. My phone is also getting off, like it's way off to the left, so we're going to try the reset button, and that actually did fix it. Let's pull up a video that I just posted. Let's dismiss that, and now we have this video playing. We can actually, I believe, we should be able to, it's actually off the screen. That's not good. I can't get to the full screen button. Can I double click and get out of it? There we go. Okay. I should be able to reposition this. There should be a handle down here that appears in some apps, but it doesn't look like it's going to let me. So we're going to come back to this main screen, and that's not letting me resize it either. I swear that there's normally a way to resize these things. Maybe in the browser. Here we go. So the browser, I can resize. I can actually make it further away, bring it in closer. I can put it where I need it to be more comfortable. But for some reason, it doesn't seem like all apps can do this. And again, the jitteriness of this is just not something that you're going to want to do. And if you slide side to side like this, it stays with you. It's only going to stay put if you turn your head. Accelerometers are limited in this regard. Now, of course, you can also just plug your phone directly into it and simply mirror your screen. When you plug it in, that's what you're going to see. It's just your phone's screen. Of course, it's going to be, more than likely a vertical screen with black all around it. There's just going to be a phone screen floating there in the darkness. But if you fire up YouTube, Netflix, Hulu, whatever it might be, and fire up a TV show, movie, video, go full screen, you are now going to have a full screen 16:9 video, if it's in 16:9, I should say, a full screen video there in front of you, and that's going to work pretty well. Although, keep in mind, a lot of phones won't let you then turn your phone screen off. You may have to leave your phone on to continue enjoying that content. Likewise, some devices, like Samsung devices, will actually try and fire up DeX, which may be exactly what you want, might be very cool for you, or you may have to leave DeX or disable that to do what you want to do. Now, I would show you DeX just like I showed you the other stuff with my Galaxy device, but there's no screen recorder in DeX, apparently, at least not that I can see. And at the end of the day, it just looks like DeX. You put it on and you see your DeX interface and you use your phone like a trackpad. It works relatively well. If you're a big fan of that, of the DeX interface, you're going to feel right at home using this headset now, or AR glasses, I should say. Now, for me, this is where some of the perhaps astigmatism stuff comes in for me. So when I'm in DeX or plugged into my Chromebook or anything else that has text like that, in the corners, no matter how I adjust it, where everything is picture perfect and focused in the middle, I can't get text to be in focus in the corners. That may just be me, but it's something that I got to tell you about. And kind of sticking with the phone mirroring thing, something else you kind of have to think about is that if you're mirroring your phone and you're just going to browse to a video and play it, you're going to have to be looking at your phone. And yes, you can see your phone screen in the glasses, but you can't see where your thumb is, right? So you don't know where you're touching. So you wind up doing this thing where you're kind of like, they're on and you're kind of looking down, you're holding your phone down to look to see what you're doing to get to where you're going. It's a little bit annoying. Again, if all you're meaning to do is get to that video, to get it playing or get to that TV show, it's a minor inconvenience. But in general, you can't see your thumb, so it's kind of a barrier. I guess you could pair a mouse to your phone and that might be better. I should also mention that if you are using your Rokid with your phone and you want to be able to do that while also charging your phone, they do sell this little USB hub. You just plug this into the bottom of your phone, plug your glasses in there, your charging cable in there, and you can, like I said, be charging it while using it to power your AR glasses. Another thing that I thought was going to be really cool, but then once I did it, I realized wasn't nearly as cool as I thought, was plugging this thing into a computer, an actual laptop in my case, because I don't know why, your brain, or at least my brain, just didn't, conceive of these things properly. I'm like, oh, cool, I could have, this extra screen. But it's not an extra screen. It's the only screen. You plug it into your laptop, and yes, you have a visibly very massive screen, but it's just one screen, right? You're not going to be using that screen with your glasses on and then using any other screen because you have glasses on and you can't see them. Yes, you can have the light blockers off and you could see your actual monitor through them, but you can't, they're layered on top of each other. So the productivity aspect of it in that regard doesn't make a ton of sense to me. If you want to use this thing as a productivity machine, what I would say is probably pair it with something that can run Samsung DeX, have a Bluetooth mouse and keyboard along with you, and then, yeah, you could probably get some work done. Even if you're using just the phone interface, you don't have a desktop like DeX to use, pair it with a mouse and keyboard, bigger version of the screen in front of you, potentially some productivity use there, but it's not a second screen. It's just one big screen. Anytime I saw people talking about these AR glasses, one of the things I kept hearing about people using it for, and I found in my own personal experience that it makes a ton of sense, is hooking it up to something like a Nintendo Switch or your Valve Steam Deck. I have to say that either one of these is really, really nice. When you do that, your Steam Deck basically just becomes a really, really big controller that is going to be, probably comfortably sitting in your lap. And you can just kind of be chilling like that, relax in whatever position feels comfortable to you. And you're playing your Steam Deck games on this enormous, really, really nice looking screen. Of course, it may be difficult for you to find a game on either one of those that are going to run at 120 FPS, where you're going to make that 120 hertz screen really sing. But if you happen to find something on your Steam Deck that can run that fast, it's going to look really, really good. Another aspect I need to touch on is just the comfort level, okay? These things are 75 grams, so not all that heavy. I did say that the nose pieces there are indeed quite comfortable, actually way better than I thought they were going to be, but I have to underline again, like I said earlier, it does get warm on your forehead. I'm not sure how they avoid that kind of thing with two little projectors right there so close to your face. It's not a huge deal, and it's not anywhere near as bad as using a true VR headset, because those definitely have to, get hot, and I'm, playing a boxing game, so I'm moving around, it's pinched against my head. It's nowhere near that bad. But if you're watching like Oppenheimer or something, like, you're probably going to be a little uncomfortable by the end of that movie. So another feature I don't see a lot of people talking about is the 3D mode. So on the glasses, there's volume up, volume down, and then there's another button that controls the brightness. If you press and hold that, it switches to a side-by-side 3D mode. So if you're able to find side-by-side 3D content, there's a little bit on YouTube for you to choose from. You're able to watch that stuff, and even though a lot of that side-by-side 3D stuff on YouTube is of quite low quality, the effect was way more convincing than I thought it was. I actually watched an Avatar, the Avatar movie, the blue alien people. I watched a trailer for it like that, and it looked really, really cool. I was really surprised by it, and I thought this would be a fun way to watch this movie with this 3D effect. Again, I wish there was more content that would take advantage of it, but it is there if you want to try that out. So what's my conclusion about these things? Well, they tick a lot of boxes. The screens look really, really nice. 50-degree field of view is not bad. 600 nits is quite good. HDCP support is great. That means things like Netflix are going to work, which is awesome. When it comes to giant screens you can wear on your face, I think these are probably some of the better giant screens that you can wear on your face. But there are just inherent limitations with this sort of technology because it is a giant screen on your face and not a whole lot more than that. And you have to decide if you think that is worth almost $400. Again, hopefully there is a discount code below to drop that price and hopefully drop it somewhat significantly to bring that more into line with what hopefully you are looking for. And like I said, if you're looking for a big screen you can wear on your face, it seems like a really good one. Even though as someone who works from home and is just here most of the time, it doesn't make a ton of sense for me. I have even still found reasons to put those things on and to watch content with them because the screens in there look great and it's just kind of a cool way to watch a movie or something like that. And if you're someone that has, like I said earlier, a long commute, a plane ride, something like that, they make a ton of sense and you could feel like you're not where you are, right? You could totally just escape that plane ride that you are on, be, in your own world, watching a movie on a great big giant screen. And, look, if you travel a lot, you commute a lot, it may be worth that price to you. So guys, there you go. Those are my thoughts on the Rokid Max AR glasses. As I said earlier, thanks to Rokid for sending these things over and for sponsoring the video. Even though this is a sponsored video, they are indeed seeing this at the exact same time as you guys. They had no editorial input or approval over what I said. These are still my honest opinions. Thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button before you go. Check out the affiliate link in the description if you want to purchase them. It will help support the channel that way as well, guys. I'll see you on the next one. And until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.